So for problem number 1, all you're going to do is you're going to multiply by pi over 180 degrees. The zeros cancel, and 25 and 18 aren't divisible by any number, same number, so we have 25 pi over 18. That's our final answer because it's in radians. Number 2, we're going to multiply by pi over 180 degrees. So we can cancel out the 0 degrees. 16 and 8 are both divisible by 2. So when we divide on the top by 2, we get negative 8 pi. When we divide 18 by 2, we get 9. So our final answer, negative 8 pi over 9. That's radians. Next one, we can cancel out a 0. And then 18 and 42 are both divisible by 6. So 18 divided by 6, we get 3 in the denominator. 42 divided by 6, we get 7. And we put the pi up top. So it's 7 pi over 3 in radians. So next one, if we're converting to degrees, we're going to multiply by 180 degrees over pi. Our pi's cancel. So we have 180 degrees over 7. And 180 divided by 7, we get approximately 25.714 degrees. So for negative 13 pi over 6, we're going to multiply by 180 degrees over pi. The pi's cancel. If we divide the top and bottom by 6, 6 divided by 6 is 1, so it cancels. 180 divided by 6. We get, 6 goes into 18 3 times, and we have a 30. And negative 13 times 30, we get negative 390 degrees. Well, first we know that across from big B side is little b, across from big A is little a, across from big C is little c. The hypotenuse is always going to be C. And I'm going to fill in what I know. So I know little b is 8. I know that big C is 90 degrees, and we know it's right angle, and we know that little c is 14. So remember, for these problems, you're going to be using SOHCAHTOA. So we're going to be using either SOHCAHTOA, or we're going to be using Pythagorean theorem. So our Pythagorean theorems to find sides, SOHCAHTOA we're using to find angles. So it depends on the problem which one you're going to use. So if I first want to find angle B, we want to find this angle, I need to decide what part of SOHCAHTOA I want to use, because we're using SOHCAHTOA to find the angles. So I have to see what I have. I have the opposite of that angle is 8. I have the hypotenuse. So if I have the opposite and hypotenuse, I'm going to use sine. So I'm going to say the sine of angle B is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. So then we know that B, or that theta, that angle, is inverse sine of 8 over 14. As long as my mode's in degrees, I rate 34.85 degrees. Next, I'm going to search for angle A. That's easy because I know that the sum of 3 angles is 180 degrees, and I subtract 90, and I subtract the 34.85. So angle A is 55.15 degrees. And lastly, to find side A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So I don't know A squared plus, we know B is 8, so 8 squared equals C squared, 14 squared. And when you isolate A, you get A is the square root of 132. You can break down, see if you can take out. So 4 times 33 is 132. 4 breaks down to 2 times 2. So 1, 2 comes out, because 33 is just 3 times 11. So we end up with A is 2 root 33. So when I look at this problem, I first labeled all of the sides as little a, little b, little c. Remember, little b is opposite from big B, etc. So I can either use SOHCAHTOA, Pythagorean theorem, or subtract the angles from 180. Since I have 2 of the sides, I'm going to find the third side by doing Pythagorean theorem. So it looks like it's easiest to first find c. So I'll do 7 squared plus 11 squared equals c squared. So then we get 49 plus 121 equals c squared. So then we get c is a square root of 170, and we can't simplify square root of 170. So we could write little c square root of 170 or 13.04. We're going to leave it as squared. So now I'm going to try to find the angles. I need to use SOHCAHTOA because I only know one angle on the inside. So to find angle A, you can pick which one you want to find first. I know SOHCAHTOA. Now in reference to angle A, big angle A, the little a would obviously be the opposite. Little b would be the adjacent, and c would be the h. So I want to use O and A. So I use O and A, so I'm going to go with tan. So the tangent of angle A, tangent of the angle, is equal to its opposite over its adjacent. And to find that theta, or angle A, it's inverse tan of 11 over 7, which is about 57.53. My mode is in degrees, so 57.53 degrees, 57.53 degrees. Now lastly, to find B, I'm going to subtract the two that were given from 180.53. So then you would get angle B is about 32.47 degrees. And you're done. So for this next section, you really just need to make sure that your mode is correct. So you wouldn't want to get this wrong for the wrong mode. So 1 to 6, I see the degree symbol, so I know the mode is in degrees. So for those problems, when I use my calculator, I'll put mode degrees. And then I know for the remaining ones, if I see the radians or I don't see the degree symbol, I know that my mode needs to be in radians when I use my calculator. Okay, so on the left side, number 1 and 4 are easy because you just have mode in degrees and you pop it in your calculator. So for number 3, remember the reciprocal of cosecant is sine. So you do 1 over the sine of 215 degrees is negative 1.7434. And for number 6, similarly, you do 1 over cos 57 degrees because cos is the reciprocal of secant. So number 2 is a little tricky. So we know we don't have the cotangent or button. So reciprocal is tangent. So we're going to do 1 over tangent of this angle, 194 degrees, 67 minutes and 11 seconds. Now, how do you put this in your calculator, right? So you would hit 194 second angle, you hit the degree symbol, and then you hit the next number, 67 second angle, and you hit the minute symbol. And then you hit 11, and you have to hit alpha plus. And when you do all that for number 2, you get 3.701. Same thing for cotan, so just follow the same rules. 1 over the tangent of 91 degrees, 14 minutes, 12 seconds. And when you put this in your calculator, to get the degree symbol, you hit second angle. To get the minute, second angle. Seconds alpha plus. And your final answer for that one should be negative 0.022. So for this next section, just make sure your mode's in radians. The first two that are really easy, number 8 and number 12, just make sure your mode's in radians and you press the numbers and you get your answers. Now for number 10, that one's easy too. You hit the tan button, parentheses, I would do the quantity 2, I would hit the pi symbol, divided by 9, close parentheses, and you get 0.8391. Same thing for this cosine 1, just like number 10, make sure you're hitting this pi symbol, and when you pop that in your calculator, you should get 0.3090. Now, number 7, remember it's a little harder. The cosecant button's not in our calculator, but the reciprocal is sine, so we do 1 over the sine of 4.16. Make sure your mode's in radians, and when you do that, you should get negative 1.1747. Similarly, for number 11, we know that secant's not in our calculator, but the reciprocal is cos. So we do 1 over cos of quantity 10 pi divided by 7, and when we do that, we should get negative 4.4940.